Hi, I'm Deborah Sadler, and I'm the author of a trilogy, Words of the Temple, A New Humanity. And it is a trilogy about working toward world peace. And this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to be talking about the winter solstice that is taking place tomorrow on Saturday, December 21st. And the solstice is a very magical time for us because it's a time of rebirth. Today is the longest night of the year in the North Hemisphere and the longest day in the Southern Hemisphere. And I'm going to show you a little diagram from book one. So my whole theory and thesis is based on a 26,000 year cycle. And so I'm going to show you this little diagram here. And it is showing where the gray part is, that is 13,000 years. And where the white part is, that is 13,000 years. And where we are now is we are at the cross point. So we are just right here. And in the middle of this is where the galaxy is. This is where our galaxy is. And so there's a 26,000 year cycle that also has a solstice. And what you're seeing in that line across there is the solstice for the 26,000 year cycle, which is what it takes for the sun to go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. So that is a macrocosm of our 365-day transition through all 12 signs of the zodiac as the planet Earth. So we go around the sun, takes us 12 months to go around the sun. And we go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. So we're in each sign of the zodiac, or the earth is, for about 30 days. But for the sun, it's in each sign of the zodiac for about 2,160 years. So where we are today is we're just at the very end of the cycle that moves us to the solstice, where we move into the light, where the light returns. And that's why Christmas is celebrated on the 25th of December, because the sun comes down to its lowest point, and before it goes direct, it stays stationary. And from the perspective of the earth, it stays stationary on December 21st, 22nd. From the perspective of the earth, it does not start moving forward or direct until the 25th of December. And so the 25th of December for eons has been a special day because it's when we can actually see the return of the light. That's what Christmas is about. So on this solstice, we are lined up with the center of the galaxy. It's called a galactic alignment. This is also happening in the macrocosm of the sun's 26,000 year circle around the planet Alcyon, the brightest planet in brightest star, in the Pleiadian star system. So every 26,000 years, we come around to this fresh new starting point, and we go into the light. So on 12/21/2012, we hit the galactic center for the big sun's cycle around all 12 signs of the zodiac. And so we are there right now. We are lined up with the galactic center. We are lined up with the center of the galaxy as a solar system. At least the sun is lined up there from the perspective of the earth. And right now we're in the microcosm of that, which is where our sun is lined up with the center of the galaxy. We're on the plane of the galaxy. And then this would be where we have our equinox. And so right now, in terms of the big 26,000 year cycle, we're lined up. It's a cross. It's called the galactic cross. It's called the heavenly cross. The cross is not a religious symbol. It's an astronomical symbol. And the symbol for the earth in astrology is a cross with a circle around it, or a circle with a cross inside of it. So we are at that galactic cross line, not only in the big cycle, the macrocosm cycle, but we're in it in the microcosm cycle too. In the macrocosm cycle, it takes 36 years to move through the width of the galaxy. It's called the precession of the equinoxes. And the midpoint of that is 12/21/2012, which was the end of the Mayan calendar. And this was prophesied by the ancients, by the indigenous. They all knew about it because they lived under the stars for eons and they understood the cycles of the stars. And so what is happening on our planet right now as a macrocosm is we are moving from the dark to the light. And on 12/21/2012, the light became in greater proportion than the dark. So the dark light quotient shifted on 12/21/2012. And it shifted from the dark being the more dominant quotient to the light being more dominant. In addition to that, we passed the marker. I use the work of Kryon. He is an angelic entity from the other side of the veil who works with planets who move into ascension. And we moved into ascension as a planet on 12/21/2012 because we did not destroy ourselves before that date. And so it is because of the old souls and the light workers who raised our vibration in the 80s and the 90s that we passed this marker. It is the frequency of those people who have raised their frequency to love, joy, ease, grace, prosperity, and oneness and unity consciousness. So in this cycle, in book 1, I show how it talks about how we are moving from separation consciousness to unity consciousness. The bottom part where the shadow was is the shadow. And that's where we were in separation consciousness. God was out there. The power's out there. The people out there have power over us. We have shifted to unity consciousness, where we recognize and remember we are all one. And for the light workers and the old souls, we're already there. We already understand that everything is one. Everything in the universe is connected. It's all connected. We are one planetary family. We are a soul family. We are one. And so what you're seeing right now is the power struggle between the old energy from the shadow, separation consciousness, fighting for its life, because now the light is overtaking the dark. And as Kryon says, I told you all these deep, creepy, crawly things would come out when the light started to win. But what's so interesting about these deep, dark, creepy things coming out is that the light is shining on them. And these dark, creepy, crawly things were around all along. They've been with us for eons. The difference is we didn't see them. But from 12/21/2012, the light is getting brighter and brighter. And as Kryon says, when you turn on the light, you see the dirt. And so what we are seeing on our planet, particularly in the United States of America, is the old energy fighting for its life. It lies, it cheats, it steals, it does whatever it has to do to stay in control and to stay in power. And you are watching it flail, but it's happening like right in front of us. They're not even trying to hide what it is that they're doing. So as a student of Kryon, I do listen to as much of Kryon as I can. And he recently gave a metaphor for what's taking place on the planet. And he used the metaphor of a train track. And he said for eons, we are on the same train track because everything in the universe goes in a circle. So we are on a train track of a circle, and history continued to repeat itself. And we went from one war to another war, to another war, to another war. And sometimes years would go by and there was no war and there was peace, and then people forgot what war was like and went back to war. And he says on 12/21/2012, that there was an off track. There was a track that left that circle. And it's a new track. And it's the track of ascension. And this is actually how our cosmos works, is there is one planet that is a planet of free choice at a time, and we're that planet. And so all eyes in the universe are on us. The universe, our star mothers and grandparents and our star relatives, they all know we passed the marker. And they all passed the marker at one point as well. And so what we're seeing is what Kryon calls a dark light battle taking place on the planet. And this is what happens when a planet moves into ascension, and it's brand new territory for us. But Kryon reminds us that the veil is thinning, so there are all these new tools available to us. And through the process of the trilogy, Words of the Temple, A New Humanity, I describe, because I have permission to use Kryon's work from Lee Carroll and Monica Morani, his partner, I describe basically how Kryon lays out how the universe works and how planets work. So there's one planet at a time that is a planet that has the potential to move into ascension. And when we pass that marker without destroying ourselves on 12/21/2012, the universe celebrated. And all of these planets that have become ascending planets, and then that's how you become an ET, and then you go seed another planet, so follow that. So what's happening for us is we are in that process of what occurs when you move into ascension in the beginning, and we're having to fight off the dark. But in the meantime, the dark stands no chance. And Kryon's always reminding us that the light is winning. So envision this circle, this track, the old track that went on for eons, a history repeating itself, and then there's an offshoot. And what's happening now, in my opinion, is that the old energy is attempting to hijack this new path, which leads us to peace on Earth and beyond. It leads us to being a planet in ascension and humanity in ascension. It leads us to even beyond peace on Earth. And so this old energy is attempting to use their power and their money to overtake our new track. But we've been on this track now for 12 years. We've been on this track since 2012. So, as Kryon would say, they don't stand a chance because the light is revealing everything that they're doing in order to overtake this track. With their old energy, they intend to overtake the new energy. Well, the light now is in a greater proportion than the dark. And so we're just going to continue to see what it is that they're doing in their attempt to try to hold on to power and hold on to that separation consciousness and conquer, divide and conquer the planet. That's their vision. They think they've actually pulled it off. So here's another metaphor from Kryon. He described this metaphor in the first month of 2024, in January 2024. He said, imagine that you're at a docking place, a boat docking place, and there are two ships. And what I envisioned was two Navy ships. All right, so they're two Navy ships. They're brand new. They're exactly alike. They're identical. They haven't been outfitted yet, and they don't have a crew on board, but they're identical. And what's happened though, as these ships have been built, is the energy shifted. Instead of being the energy from the shadow, the energy moved into the light. And so the ocean, which represents the energy, has shifted from what it once was. And so these two boats get launched, and one is old energy and one is new energy, and they get launched and they go into the water. But for the old energy ship, the new energy water does not support it. It's like, no, I am not supporting this old energy. And just even though it's a brand new ship, it starts rusting. And then it starts getting holes. And eventually it's going to sink. And that is really a model for me and my interpretation of what's happening for the old energy, is that they are a sinking ship. And they've launched themselves and they think, I've got this pretty new ship and I've got all this power and I've got all this money and I did all this manipulation and I have really got control of the situation. But the problem is we're in new energy and it doesn't support that old separation consciousness anymore. It doesn't support cruelty. It doesn't support the dividing of humanity into separate parts is the way to be in control of us. But what the new energy does support is compassion and unity consciousness and the coming together of humanity. And we also, in this awakening of this precession of the equinoxes, which is what this period is called, when we pass through the galaxy, every 13,000 years we do it because it's 13,000 up here and 13,000 down here. When we pass through that marker, we move into the light, we move into unity consciousness. So since 2012, we've been in the light and we've been in unity consciousness. So I just want to give you hope that everything that is taking place because it is supposed to be taking place. That we are totally on time. And the way we get through this is through practicing loving kindness and compassion. And we raise our frequency because that's how we got here. We passed the marker because enough of us raised our frequency. So if we continue to do the joyful work of being in service, of smiling, of being joyful, of supporting others, for being kind and caring and compassionate, as we do that, that old frequency fades away. That old energy fades away. So what is taking place in our politics is what takes place individually in different planets as we move into ascension. But this is the process of moving into ascension, is we have to fight off the dark. And so we fight them with love. We fight them with joy. You know, all that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz stuff, all those stadiums brimming with all that joy, all that love, all that excitement, all that fun, all that laughter, singing, dancing, those are God qualities. And that's where we're going to. And that's the energy we want in our lives. And so watch the manipulation fall apart because the universe doesn't support it anymore. It's rusting, it's getting holes, and it's a sinking ship. So for us on this day of the solstice, it's a really important time for us to set intentions. So we're taught to set intentions on the first of the year, but really we are at the point of the galactic alignment. The galaxy is sending us all kinds of energy. It's a portal that opens up for us. So for us personally, this is really a great time to set our intentions for what it is that we want to manifest and demonstrate in our lives. And so go high or even higher, dream big, set great expectations. The next week is a wonderful time for all of us, excuse me, to get together and to be in joy and to celebrate all of the blessings we have, because they are too many for us to count. Have a happy holiday. Happy solstice.